Hello everyone! Hello, hello, hello! My name is Savvy and today you are attending yet another edition of this voice workshop of ours here at the Trans Academy. So I am Savvy, I am your host, and I hope today to help you learn some things, some theory, and some methods on how you can feminize your voice or masculinize it. Whatever the direction you want to take your voice in, I hope to help with this. Now, with that being said, please stay muted for the duration of this session. You might have the opportunity to unmute your mic and go up on stage. So for now, please do keep your mic muted. Thank you very much. All right, so with that being said, I do need to make some things a little bit clear, especially when it comes to voice. Of course, voice hygiene is extremely important. And that being said, if you are someone who takes spironolactone, you might want to know that it is a kind of medication that can be drying to your body. Now, nothing to be alerted by, but if you do take those drying substances, whether it's coffee or certain medications like spironolactone or antihistamines, which is, for example, my case, you want to make sure to really hydrate yourself. That's a lot of reallys just to say, please drink water before doing any voice work. That being said, if you take some of those medications or substances, you want to make sure that you don't exactly work in the same time frame. I will generally avoid, taking my antihistamines right before a session. I'll take it earlier in the morning, for example, and then, do this workshop much later. Whoops, I think I'm lagging a little bit. All right, all good. So with that being said, that is not the only important thing. Of course, water is extremely important. So be sure to drink at least 10 to 15 minutes before doing any voice work. That is because when you drink water, it does not directly impact the vocal cords, the vocal folds. That is because the water goes down the right pipe, down to your stomach, and not down your lungs, where you will find the pathway for the vocal folds to vibrate. So the blood flow will be what hydrates your voice. So that's why you want to drink water a little bit before doing some voice work. All right, with that being all said, and I bonked, I think this is a fan. Cool. All right, let's move away from this. Okay, days are getting hot, so drink even more water. Good reminder. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about what voice is about. So here in this case, I'm going to say a little bit, wrong slide. Here we go. So how does voice function? Please let me know when the slide has loaded. Okay, it should be good now. We had a few seconds. Great. So now, what is voice exactly about? Well, I like to use this little model just to kind of explain how voice functions. We have the power, which is going to be the airflow provided by our lungs. That airflow will then move up a tube called the trachea, and once it moves up, it will reach this part. This is the larynx, and within the larynx, you will find the vocal folds. They're like little flaps, and thanks to the airflow that comes from below, they will flap like this from bottom to top, and this will create a vibration that we will call the source sound. For us, we're mostly going to think about the source sound in terms of vocal fold behavior. So if your voice is really thin or really buzzy and thick, or if your pitch is rather fast or slow, so the faster the vibration rate, the higher of a pitch you get, the slower of a vibration rate, the lower of a pitch you get. And so once that air moves up, the vocal fold starts to vibrate. That's awesome. And the sound produced will then bounce around and reverberate in this little resonant chamber. If you've already heard the buzzword resonance, this is generally what we refer to. So it's not exactly the physical meaning of resonance, but rather referring to the resonant chamber. And so I know the word is being misused a little bit, so I try to be a little bit more precise. So this refers, in this case, to the filter of the vocal tract. Why filter? Well, technically it is because when the vocal folds vibrate, they create a wide range of frequencies. And the way we filter those frequencies will create a really bright voice or a really dark voice, which allows us to explore the gender perception of one's voice. We can learn to modify how big or how small that space is. And that is most of the techniques that we'll be covering today in terms of voice feminization or masculinization. With that being said, Let's talk a little bit about what differentiates voices biologically speaking. Now, here, of course, biology is not everything, and there's a lot of social and cultural aspects when it comes to voice. So be sure to kind of check in with your own language, your own culture. If all of you are not just English speakers, some of you might relate to this. For example, I am a French speaker first and foremost. So knowing all of this, I kind of have to do a different voice depending on what languages I go for because of cultural expectations. Now, here I wanted to say what is generally universal in most cases. It's not about being born AFAB or AMAB, it's about testosterone exposure or the lack of thereof. When it comes to voice, the more testosterone affects your voice, well, I'll just demonstrate this. 3 things happen when testosterone hits your voice. First of all, your larynx, which is kind of right below your chin, will
drop. And with a dropped larynx, you now have a much bigger, wider sound, kind of like cavernous, right? It's really dark, it's really big. Now, the second thing that testosterone does is it makes the vocal folds vibrate a lot slower, creating lower pitches. And the third thing that testosterone does to your voice is make the vocal folds vibrate in a thicker motion. Now we have like a lot more vocal fold mass, and we have a really big dark voice, a low pitch with slow vibrating vocal folds, and really thick vocal folds to give that buzziness, that harshness, right? And of
course, if we can revert how this changes, or if I can, so can you. Of course, it depends on what your starting point is. Not everyone starts
down here where I started.
Some of you might start a little bit higher. Some of you might start a bit lower. It really depends on the person and their connection to their voices. So, yeah, it's gonna be all about creating those new connections between your brain and your voice to, be fluent enough in your motion to find different types of voices. All right. That being said, testosterone does not affect everyone equally. Regardless of if you're AMAB or AFAB, you could be AMAB and have had, like a lot of body hair, but it could have not affected your voice at all. So it comes down to biology and just really to the person. So we're not all equal in that regard. There's certainly people who have had not as much testosterone exposure as I have, and vice versa. So here we're going to try and explore some techniques that allow us to move across that gender spectrum using those 3 different variables. We can change the size, have a really small size,
or a really big size.
We can change the pitch, so how fast the vocal folds vibrate, really high pitch,
really low pitch.
And we can change how thick the vocal folds are, so how much effective mass we engage. So if I use very little vocal fold mass, my voice can be very soft. That goes for both a femme voice
and also for a masc voice.
And I can use a lot of vocal fold mass,
like have like really thick sounds by like engaging a lot of vocal fold mass. Like it's kind of literally like a muscle being more engaged.
And you can also do that in a femme voice technically, like be really buzzy up here, but I feel like most people don't want to speak like that. All right, with that being said, let us do a little bit of a warm-up. As said before, that vocal hygiene is paramount to the success of your voice use. And so what I want here to do is kind of get you to try and do some vocal warm-ups. Because warm-ups, again, the voice uses the vocal folds, and the vocal folds are partially muscle as well. So you're not going to go on a marathon and not stretch your legs. You're not going to do voice work if you don't stretch out and relax those vocal folds. All right. So let's try this really quick. For this, you can unmute yourself. I'll go first, and then you can mimic after me. All right. I'll count to 3, and then you mimic after me. I go first. Here's an example. And you can mimic after me in 3, 2, 1. And back down. Very good. Awesome. Let's try a different sound. Example, I go first on a Z sound, as in zoo. to try this in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Nice. All right, now you may mute yourself again. Thank you for participating to this. Of course, I encourage you more than enough, or I never encourage you enough, to practice whilst you're muted. You know, people will be able to move up on stage in a little bit, so be free to do, or be okay with like doing some exercises. No one's going to hear you, so don't worry. You know, part of this is also that you take away some of this knowledge and of this practice with you. All right, so as I do per usual, I'll get first up on stage someone who wants to masculinize their voices. If you're interested, raise your hand, jump in place, or use the hand emoji. I see some people for voice masculinization. I'm not sure if I saw Ray or Ethan first. I'll go for Ray. Yeah? All right, Ray, come up on stage. Come on, come on, come on. You can go to the left or to the right. There's, all right. Big applause to Ray. All right. Hello there. Whoop. We got 8 minutes starting from now. Perfect. Are you unmuted right now?
Oh, no, I am. Sorry.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Welcome, Ray. First time in one of those workshops? First time on stage?
Yep.
All right. Welcome. Are you familiar with some of the methodology that we use here, or first time completely?
Yeah, first time completely.
Gotcha. All right. So what I first want to hear from you is a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest comfortable pitch. Give it a try.
Sorry, I get nervous a lot. Sorry.
Look over here. There's a tree. Relaxing, right? Beautifully animated leaves. Can't get more relaxing than that, right? Yeah. Let's try this. Sing to the trees.
Okay. So, am I able to like hum it if I can?
Excuse me?
Am I able to like hum it?
You can hum it, or you can do like an O sound. It doesn't really matter. I kind of want to hear what you're capable to do with your pitch range. So really anything you want. Give it a try.
Okay. Sorry, I get so nervous. I don't know why.
It's okay. No worries. Take your time.
Sorry, I don't do this a lot.
It's okay.
Okay.
No, it's all right.
Try one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh, down to F sharp pretty good. Are you familiar with music theory notation of pitch, or not at all? Okay. So there's like 2 ways to measure pitch. So the speed of the vibration can be measured in hertz. That's like the scientific value. But classical singing, and just in a way to like communicate pitches more easily, because pitches are really hard to hear very precisely down to the hertz, we tend to use like a scale. So a scale can be something like do 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 C D E F G A B C. So C D E F G A B C. That's why they use letters. I don't know why. I know in Europe we use like do re mi fa sol la chi do. But whatever works for you works. You'll find some pitch apps online that are free to use, by the way, or on your phone. I will recommend a few at the end of our little session here. So those can be useful to kind of like gain more knowledge and be more connected to what your abilities are in terms of pitch. You can then kind of see how well you progress at this, rather than being like, I don't know if I'm at a high pitch or at a low pitch or like whatever, you know? It can help you kind of figure out where you are at. In your case, the lowest I've heard from you is an F sharp free. It's actually pretty good. Let me show you a little graph so you understand a little bit better what I mean with a keyboard. That sounds right. Can you see the slides up there? Have they loaded for you?
Yes.
Awesome. So in your case, you ended up here, F#3, right at the limit here. Yes. Actually, when you said yes, that actually ended up on F3. Okay. So nervousness makes it so that you might not do the lowest of pitches. Actually, generally, the higher the pitch, the faster the vocal folds vibrate, right? And if you feel tense or if you're like kind of anxious, the vocal folds tend to kind of be more stiff and they can produce higher pitches than usual. So this is something for you to try a little bit more on your own, like in the comfort of your privacy, to kind of see how far down you can go. All right, that's not the only thing we can do in regards of masculinization, because going down to F3 is not exactly feminizing the voice, masculizing the voice just yet. We want to also make the space a lot
Bigger, so we get like a more dark sound, right?
closer to a masculine sound doing so. So I want you to try to mimic something very simple for me. Can you just say hello on a whisper, like hello?
Okay. Hello.
Perfect. Now you notice your hello has quote unquote a pitch. It has like a height, right? Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello, hello. Kind of like pitch does. Da 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 da. Right? So in your case, hello, you want to listen for the whisper. Does it sound bright or does it sound dark? Hello, small size.
Hello, big size.
Right? So using that perception, we can tell how big our vocal tract is quite literally. Actually, take your hand in real life and put it on your neck gently. Don't press down. I just want you to see if you can feel a little bump on your neck. Let me know if you do.
Yeah, I can.
All right, perfect. Please keep your hand on the neck so you can like feel for that bump. It might move a little bit. When you speak, it probably moves automatically already. That's totally normal. Now, with your hand still on your neck, I want you to try to say hello really bright. Hello. Okay? And I want you to go for a hello that's really dark. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Give it a try.
Okay, so start with bright first.
Yeah, just how you normally say hello in a whisper. Hello.
Okay, so hello.
Very good. All right. Now, you might feel that your bump is really high up there, right? Now, I want you to say this sentence, pat that cat on a whisper. So we only have the ah sound. We remove some variables of vowel changing the shape of your tongue and mouth. So just pat that cat. Pat, pat, cats.
Okay. Pat that cat.
Superb. And now let's try this. Pat, pat,
Pat. Pat. Pat.
give it a try.
Okay. So I just say pat and then I get lower.
Absolutely.
Pat, 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 pat.
Wonderful. Really good. Did you feel like the bump on your neck kind of went a bit lower as you did that? Perfect. So you're doing the exercise right. As you do this, the Adam's apple quite literally goes lower. With this, the size of your vocal tract becomes bigger. And with the bigger size, the sound gets darker, right? Now, all we need to do is to pass through that bigger space some sound. We'll both convene that
Having like a dark whisper is not exactly passing a lot of sound.
so we want to get the vocal folds to start vibrating. So let's try the following. We start on that dark whisper.
Pat that cat, really big size. Pat that cat.
Okay. So do I still keep my hand on my neck or?
You can keep it on your neck to kind of like gauge how high or how low your Adam's apple is. Whoops. Don't worry. We just do this exercise at least. Pat, pat.
Pat, pat, pat.
Okay. So just.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I need a. Okay. My brain didn't.
Forget
Like,
dark that. It's okay. And a lot of things are happening. You're cool. No worries. Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, pat.
so do the same thing as before. Just say pat, you get lower.
Absolutely. And then once you're low, you want to keep your voice there.
Pat that cat.
right, very good. And now let's go for the darkest one.
But that cat as dark as you can.
Beautiful. Compare it to your brighter one. That cat.
But that cat.
Okay. Pat that cat. Pat that cat.
Nice, beautiful. So you're doing that jump really well. Awesome. And now from that dark position,
But that cat.
we're going to try and hold that dark ah sound. And we're going to try to close the vocal folds again so that we can get a dark voiced sound. Whispers aren't voiced by nature, so we want to get a voiced sound. And it should sound something like this.
Pat that cat.
So we want to go from a whisper to a breathy sound to a balanced sound. Closing the vocal folds gradually, listening for the whisper. If we get we know we let our size get small again. And so we would want to make sure that the whisper stays really dark the entire way through. Let's give this a try. Call and response style. I go first, you go. No questions asked. Sounds good?
Yes.
Let's try this.
Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Perfect.
Pat that cat. Pat that cat.
Oh, I forgot.
It's okay.
So-
Dark pat the cat.
Pat that cat.
Okay. Pat that cat. Oh no, I didn't do transition. Okay.
It's okay. Yes, very good.
Pat that cat.
Pat that
Yes.
cat.
Yes, okay. That was so cool. So you did this like pat that cat, and you kind of like reverted as you kind of like let it trail off. But you heard that cat. That was really dark, right? So that's something for you to explore with and play around with, and I'm sure you'll get really dark and masc sounds in no time. Before you go, however, I want to show you some apps that you can make use of, hopefully. So, has a slide loaded for you?
Yes.
Awesome. iOS user, Android user. I won't judge. Don't worry. You can tell.
iOS.
All right. So I would recommend Nail the Pitch. All of these apps are free to use. I'd recommend Nail the Pitch, given that it will give you the pitch. Like you don't see it here, but on the app you have like a keyboard on the side, and it will tell you what pitch you are at. In terms of in terms of pitch ranges, it's a good idea to kind of get around that area to find lower pitches to get a more masculine voice. Of course, technically, this is only common socially gendered ranges, so they're not like, accurate at describing all the voices. I can do a really low fem voice. Like, for example, if I speak down here, my pitch is here, right? But you do understand, you do hear that this voice is definitely feminine, right? Similarly, if I go up here,
But I keep my resonance really dark and big. I don't sound really feminine. I sound like a guy shouting, at really high pitches, right? So yeah,
I guess my intonation is a bit feminine because I've habitualized it a lot. But given that your lowest pitch you've shown is F3, I think there's a lot for you to explore as you get more acquainted with your pitch range using the Nail the Pitch app on iOS. Kind of play around with your pitch and voice and see what you can do with it. Okay? All right. You were really brave. You did really well. Everyone, please give a big round of applause to Ray. Woo! Hope to see you around, and best of luck with practice.
Thank you.
You're really welcome. Keep it up. All right, now up on stage, I want someone who wants to feminize their voices. Oh my gosh, you were really quick, Zoe. Zoe Pixel, yes? Come up on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to Zoe Pixel. Ooh, oh, okay. You can choose any side. All right. Hello, Zoe. Hello. First time here?
Hello.
First time on the stage?
Yep, first time.
All right, awesome. I'm hearing some things done with your voice already. So let me know. What have you done with your voice before? What's your experience with it?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Oh, wow. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess some of us kind of naturally tend to maybe did you socialize with more girls or more guys in your life? Because that can also play a bit.
I have autism, so I never really socialized that much. So I don't
Socializing? What's that thing? Honestly, for real. I socialize with my keyboard and my mouse. Okay.
Yep.
Don't worry, I'm a gamer, I get this. So all right. Perfect. So, socializing, what is that? Doesn't matter. I think you already have something interesting going on with your voice, so rather than starting from the bottom up, I mean, like, it's not like
You start with a voice like that, in all honesty, you know, so I mean,
I don't really need to undo that work. Your voice is already pretty high up there. There's some things that I would work on. I did hear that your voice sounds a little bit thick at times. Sometimes you might speak like that, and then like you go to lower pitches and it kind of like gets more buzzy. So that's something that we could work on to get like a more evenly thick voice or thin voice, a more even mass in your voice. So either it's just like a more consistently thicker voice or a more consistently softer voice, whichever you'd like to have. I want to test some sentences with you. That's not the right one. Yes, perfect. Okay, has the slide loaded for you on the board?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I want you to please give a read at the very first sentence, just so I can hear what I'm working with.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Okay, that's really good. I mean, hello, good morning. How are you? I would say the lowest pitch on how are you is probably one of the things we'd want to work on. As you hear, it's a generally more thicker sound, but also it's a sound that it's quite low in pitch. How are you? Actually ending up at a sharp 2. Knowing that this already loaded, you should see this. So you went from how are you, jumping a whole octave down, right? And you ended up here, how are you? So that's actually fairly low in the masc range. Of course, not impossible to feminize. Take a look, or take a listen rather. How are you? Notice the difference? My version is a lot quieter and a lot softer. That is generally speaking because for most feminine voices, our brains kind of expect that feminine voices don't know how to do lower pitches, or rather, they have not had the same testosterone exposure to create more growth in the muscle tissue of the vocal folds, and they have not lengthened, right? So lower pitches are very rare in femme voices, not unheard of, because voices like that exist, of course, but quite rare and generally seen as more mature. So if you want to sound younger or more like your age, I do not mean to guess your age anyways, but here, the very least would be to soften the voice, right? A feminine voice at lower pitches generally is weaker or softer. We use less power, right? They're harder to achieve, remember? So in your case, how are you? You could try to like soften your voice on the down end. Whenever you're going down in pitch, it can be a good idea to soften your voice. Do you want to try this? Mimic after me. How are you?
How are you?
Okay. How are you? Okay, generally softer. Pretty good. We're getting there. Okay. Let's try the sentence again from the top. I'll just let you do
Hello,
it
good
on your
morning.
own.
How are you?
All right, very good. So this time this happened. How are you? You get creak in your voice. Creak is what happens when your vocal folds are really closed and there's not enough air to power, a proper vibration. How are you? How are you? Creak is not inherently bad. I just want to state that. It's actually a sound I use a lot in my own voice. From time to time, I think it can add some texture to the voice, and it's also a really relaxed sound to use. It's really cozy, I tend to find. So you can go for either how are you, creaky voice, as you did, or you could go for how are you, a really soft but not creaky voice. That's entirely up to you. There's different options, different solutions to your problem.
I
So,
would like a less. Oh, sorry.
no,
I
go
would
ahead.
like a
I want to know what you
creaky
want.
voice. I would like a less creaky voice.
Okay, so what is creak? We need to understand what creak is really about. It's a bit complicated to say, but it generally refers to the closure of the vocal folds. But closure of the vocal folds doesn't mean a whole lot, and I know it's not indicated on this graph anywhere, but it's always going to be closure versus airflow. It's going to be how open your vocal folds are, how close they are, versus how much air you give, or how little air you give. And all of that works together to create different sounds. If you use very low airflow, so instead of being like, using all of my air all at once, I'm really loud, I'm using a lot of air, I can use very low amounts of air and have a really, really soft voice, right? I'm also managing my vocal folds so that they're relaxed enough to vibrate with that slow apport of air. Hello, how are you? Right? In the case of creak, the vocal folds are a little bit too closed. Hello, how are you? They're not open enough or you're not giving them enough air. Okay? So I want you to try and play around with that closure gradient. First of all, let's start balanced. I want you to mimic right after me. Ah.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Ah. Okay. Now we're going to try to add more air to that voice and get a breathier sound. Ah. Give it a try.
I don't know how to breathy it.
Okay, so there's two ways you can make your voice go breathy. Either you play enough with whispers of creak, kind of learning the extremes of really open vocal folds, as on a whisper, for example, or the really closed limits. Ha. Well, when the vocal folds are closed, they can't vibrate, so you don't get any sound. But you can really open the vocal fold or close them. That's not as intuitive as, for example, manipulating your airflow. We can breathe out all of our air at once. Let's try this. Perfect. Now we can do the same, but we can go twice as long. Instead of, we can try. Very good. As you notice, now we breathe out slower and longer. The slower you can breathe out, the more air you can keep in your lungs, right? And so you can go to a point where you slow down the airflow so much, well, you breathe out for so long that you slow your airflow down a lot. And so with that same airflow, we can get a really soft, gentle voice. Let's try this. Instead of going for a ah, let's try with very low air. Really quiet, really soft. Very good. Awesome. And now let's try to say, just with that same volume, hello, how are you?
How are you?
Very good. Do you notice the difference between your voice now and before? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Now your voice is a lot more soft, right? It doesn't contain like that buzzier grain that you would have from having too much engagement of the vocal fold muscles, right? So using less air can help you have a more relaxed voice, And having a more relaxed voice can help you manipulate the closure a bit more easily. So now you're using less air, right? Try it again. Very good. Now try it, but using a lot of air. Very good. Compare the two back to back. Very good. You're getting the hang of this. Now, from balance here, we can get more airflow. So, and then you want to push more air from your lungs. Your vocal folds are going to be blown out of the way, getting that breathy quality. Try it out.
Can you say that again?
Sure. Okay, so just mimic after me. Soft and gentle. Good. Now breathe in again. And we're going to go same volume, same loudness rather. And we're going to push more air in the middle. So, yes. And that's a breathy voice. So now you're starting to experiment with your vocal folds being further out of the way, allowing more air to be lost and pass through. That's a breathy voice. And if you go far enough, you'll get just a whisper. Give it a try. Okay, so try to. So let's try this again, step by step. Balanced, breathy, whispery. Just air at the end. You might be cutting off because of noise suppression settings, but that's okay. All right, so very good. All right, so now you know how to open your vocal folds more. If you are on a creak, yep.
I don't think I have zone suppression noises. I think it cut off actually.
You did it cut off? Oh. Oh no.
I think it did cut off.
It's okay. It's all right. Now, it doesn't matter if you go to the whisper just yet. You'll practice this on your own time. And also, I realized I didn't set a timer, so we probably are over time. But I just want to finish this really quickly. When you are on a creaky sound, for how are you? And you get like a lot of creak. You have two options. Either you open your vocal folds more as if you're going towards a whisper. How are you? How are you? Right? Thus fixing the closure issue. Or you can give it more airflow. So keep the same closure, but give it enough air so that it starts vibrating more. How are you? Now we get, how are you? But this, as you might have heard, yields a bit of a louder result, right? And with more air comes the risk of having more vocal fold mass. Why is it a problem? Generally, when we go for lower pitches, as I said before, most feminine voices are not expected to go below those pitches, right? Because those would require generally longer vocal folds, and the vocal folds have more vocal fold mass. You having testosterone exposure like I had, or on a similar level, I suppose, we are able to hit those pitches no problem. And it's that easiness to access those lower pitches that kind of can clock our voice as more masculine. So two options, avoid them completely, but I think that's not really always an option. Or you could, you know what we did here, make the voice a lot softer, a lot smoother, or sometimes even creaky at times. So instead of having, how are you? We don't get like a full sound like you would hear in a masculine voice, but rather, how are you? A much softer sound that fits a lot more with the higher pitches you started the sentence on. Okay?
Okay.
I know it was a lot of things. It was a really dense session, but I'm sure you get the hang of this in no time. Keep up the practice, and I'll see you around, Zoe. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Zoe. You're very welcome. Ow, I bumped myself. All right. Now we got 2 more people, 1 more mask voice person and 1 more. All right, Ethan, here we go. Mask voice. Let's go. All right, Ethan, come up on stage. Pick applause to Ethan. Or is it not Ethan? Not Ethan. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
All right, this time I will not be silly. I will start a timer. Okay, perfect. All right, so. Hello, Ethan. First time in this workshop? First time on stage?
I've watched on Twitch before, never actually been in.
Wow, Twitch viewer. Hi, Twitch. Thank you. You can come in. I don't bite. All right, welcome, Ethan. So, if you already know a little bit about all of that, okay, I want to kind of gauge what your range is at. I'm already hearing a generally lower, lower pitched voice. So let's see. How about you show me a slide from your highest down to your comfortable lowest pitch? Give it a try.
Oh.
Ooh, okay, impressive. Ooh, nice. That's quite good, actually. Ooh, that's a D sharp 3. You're actually here. Ooh, okay, very good. All right. Da, 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 da. All right, now what happens if you try to speak at that pitch? Like if you say, pat that cat. Give it a try.
That cut.
Hey,
Pat that cat.
you even go for the bigger size. You know your stuff. You've been paying attention, haven't you? Okay, very good. So I want to kind of hear what your voice can do on some sentences. All right. Has it loaded for you? Let me know if it has.
Yes, it has.
Perfect. Now from here, let's just try and see if together we can get you even darker. So mimic after me. Pat that cat. Really bright and small. Pat that cat. And you know what's next? Pat, 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 pat that cat.
Pat, 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 that cat.
Very good.
Pat that cat. Oh, pat that cat.
Oh, pat that cat.
Oh, pat that cat.
Awesome, very good. Okay, now let's try to jump back and forth between your quote unquote femme or rather brighter voice and that darker voice. So let's try this. Mimic after me how you would in a brighter voice. Pat that cat. And then apply all the changes.
Pat that cat.
Try that.
That cat. Pat that cat.
Very good. Night and day. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good stuff. Awesome. Now with that same dark voice,
Oh,
let's try and see if we can read that sentence.
oh, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Although it's starting to get a bit brighter. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
So let's try and see if we can restore that darker sound. Let's just try to first go for that. But this time on that mad brat. So that mad brat. That
That mad brat.
very good.
That mad brat. Oh.
Or what the pitch?
That mad brat.
Oh, that mad brat.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like to hear that.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. Careful here. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Not as bad as me. That mad brat sat on that flat. Well, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. So it went a bit more like that. You did go a little bit brighter in the middle of the sentence, but you caught yourself and kind of like trailed back down again. So that's very good. All right. Now let's break that monotony. Let's try to go down in pitch. Oh, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Da 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 da.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Ooh, okay. Just so you know, you've hit a new low. I mean, a new low in masc voice is a new high. You know what I mean. Oh, you've hit D3, my friend. So now you are officially here. Oh, that mad brat. Great. Awesome. Okay. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. So I really like that example you gave, but you did start like this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Like that was quite bright. Okay? So I know a lot of the time we get to focus, all of you, to practice darkness at really low pitches. But higher pitches are still part of your range, and they're supposed to be. You're still gonna want to intonate up there, or at least start the sentences high up there and then go down. You know, instead of having that mad brat sat on that flat mat, you might want something like that mad brat sat on that flat mat. You know, it might sound a little bit not flamboyant, but like it's like kind of like a radio voice, like that mad brat sat on that flat mat. You know, it has that vibe. It's like definitely more like acted voice, but I know it's a type of voice I like. And even if you're not in the context of podcast or acting, you're still gonna want to maybe like raise your voice. And just so you know, masculine voices do not raise their voice at low pitches. I mean, if I like do a really masc voice, I'm like at like an F2, G2 in terms of pitch, so quite low, right? I'm not gonna yell like, hey, you're not gonna hear me like that. No, if I want to yell, I'm gonna go, hey, I'm gonna go up in pitch, right? Actually that's like D4. Hey. But you still identify it as masculine, right? Because it's really big, it's really dark. So those higher pitches still make a lot of sense to be darkened as well. So let's try this. Let's pursue darkening those higher pitches. Just give me that sentence again here. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
I was muted, wasn't I? So sorry. Okay. Oh, where was I? Oh, no. Sorry. Whew. It's the heat getting to me. It's just too warm. The summer starting. Already. Okay. Try this, though. Match after me. Let's go really bright first. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Great. And now let's reduce the size. Let's increase the size. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Da, 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 da. So you dropped a few pitches down. Da. So you're kind of like depending on the pitch to get darker sounds. So this is really important. You really want to get like da 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 da. So for example, the starting pitch is it's a C4, right? You don't want to let it trail down. Otherwise, you're relying on lower pitches. So let's try this. That mad brats. That mad brats.
That mad brat.
And now, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
Okay, well, it makes for a really masc voice. I was expecting
that mad rat, that mad rat.
I mean, sure, why not? Oh wow, mask laugh too.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but do not ignore higher pitches. Here it was maybe a bit extreme when for like a C4 when you're capable to go down to D3. So I think da 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 da. Watch my pitch here. That's mad brats.
That's mad brats.
Da da.
Da da da. Like you're yawning. Oh, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
You got it.
That mad rat.
It's just a little bit off, but it's okay.
That mad brat.
Right, so that's a dark but yet a high pitch. And then you're gonna do
Ah, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Oh, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Ooh.
very good. Nice. All right, awesome. All right, so this is very good. Okay, so what are some words I'm gonna say here? Okay, so generally your voice is a little bit softer.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
So you're gonna like gain a little bit more masculinity, quote unquote, in your voice by adding a bit more vocal fold mass. So going for
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Going more for a that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Like having a bit of a slightly buzz your voice. You can like put some like some effort behind it.
like make your voice a bit more buzzy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah, 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 yeah.
you know, like get the like buzziness, that grain in your voice that gets more texture going. And it's especially important because one of the considerations is you're making the space really big, right? So now you have like this really big space, but you have to fill it up with sound. If your voice is really soft, well, you're struggling to fill such a big space, right? In the case of voice feminization, when we have a buzzy voice, like a voice like that, it's only because we have like a really small space, but the vocal folds are producing too much harmonic content. So we have to kind of like tune down how much we push our voice. In the case of masculine voices,
If you have like a really big vocal tract, your voice is like not completely filling up the space, right? So so you kind of like have to go a bit thicker to fill up that space and get more of a masculine sound, you know?
so that would be the idea. Although I did that at a really high pitch, but you get the idea. All right, very good. So consider increasing the vocal weight and your voice get more oomph behind it, you know, force those vocal muscles to work. And make sure that your higher pitches are also dark so you can use them with the rest of your lower pitches. So instead of having,
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
you can have something like,
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
have a bit of pitch variation and sound a bit more natural. Okay. All right. Very good job, Ethan. Hope to see you again. Best of luck with your voice practice. I'll see you around. Big applause to not Ethan or not Ethan. I was confused. Okay. And now, last but not least, we'll get one more person who wants to do femme voice. I already saw you jumping first, Voxel. You know what's up. Come up on stage. Come on. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Voxel. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. All right. Let's get started. Okay, we've got 8 minutes starting now. A bit late on the clock. Excuse me, everyone. So, all right. Voxel. Hello. Hi. You are muted, just so you know. Perhaps muted. I don't know, but I don't hear you. Technical difficulties? Just wait a second. Okay. It's all right. Do you want me to keep doing the music? Oh, no, just an instant. Yes. I do. Don't know. What? Why? Mike is. What isn't working? You're on VR, right? So you're using an Oculus headset, a Meta headset, MetaQuest headset? And those have built-in mics, I believe? Quest 3. So if you're using the Quest 3, you should have a built-in mic. When you go to the sound settings, you should see, oh god, you should see that you get, under microphone, you get like current peripheral. If you click on modify, you can choose which one you want. And perhaps you're playing the sound for the PC. I don't know what the input is for Quest 3. I don't have it, but I suppose you're set on the right one. Technical difficulties, technical difficulties. Okay, well, if it doesn't work, I guess I'll get someone else on stage. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's okay, Voxel. Maybe another time. Show up next time, and if you get your mic working, I'll be sure to get you on stage, okay? All right. Okay, so who else wants to, I see. I'm going to take someone on the left side. All right. Amber Lasting. Have you been on stage before? No? Yes? Oh. No. All right. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. Everyone give a big applause to Amber. Okay. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Wow. You're dressed just like me. Look, we're matching colors. Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I know, right?
Twinning.
That's right. We're so twinning, Amber. Okay, I got our timer started. So hey, you come up on stage bearing, I like to say, an already feminine sounding voice. So what brings you here in this realm of voice training?
Mainly just I think the right word is like phrasing. Cause I can get resonance and like my larynx control decent, but I still find that I feel like there's more that I can still work on.
Okay, then I'll just get you to read a few sentences and kind of hear if I hear some dips in resonance and vocal tract size, or if I hear some maybe thicker voices or whatever. So just go ahead and read for me that very first sentence, please.
All right. Hello, good morning. How are you?
Beautiful. Hello, good morning. How are you? Very colorful, lovely intonation. I'd be hard pressed to find an issue with that. Give me the next sentence.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Okay, very good. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Can I hear it once more, please?
Yeah. I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Okay. I was worried that you might have a breathier sound, like, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. But you only were breathy on have, which is supposed to be breathy, so no issues there. Okay. Next sentence.
All right. I forgot to take my hormones.
Yeah, same, sister. Okay. So, I forgot to take my hormones. Oh, okay. No issues here. Next one.
Are you really sure about that?
Are you really sure about that? Super colorful intonation. I was kind of scared that as you went down in pitch, are you really sure? But you kind of get your voice softer. You didn't do, are you really sure? So, I mean, are you really sure about that? I mean, I don't know. I don't see any issues in your voice per
Wow,
se just now. You're doing pretty well. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
I'm
because
learning
like
that
you're in, maybe you're like in practice mode. You're like, I gotta perform. So I don't know.
True, that could be it.
True, that could be it. See, the problem is like, well, it's not a problem, but like at lower pitches, you're like generally adapting your voice really well at lower pitches. You're making your voice softer. It's not dropping in resonance. Like it's still really bright. You keep your larynx up, so it's very good. Yeah, it's very good. Let's just read the next ones. Just read the four
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I think I have a craving for pickles. That actually does sound really good right now, though.
I know, right?
Um,
Oh my god, my salt, please. Or pickles. Okay, good.
I totally agree with that. Yet again.
Okay, now I
No.
might start to hear something. I totally agree with that. I totally, careful there. I totally agree with that.
Okay. No, that can't be right.
Mm,
And
Very good.
then blowhigh or blahage, depending on how you want to say it, is my favorite chart.
I'm saying it below a high. I'm trying to say it the correct way. Trying to. I'm not Swedish.
Me neither. I switch between them, but
You switch between
blahage is my
Swedish.
favorite.
Oh no, it was blowhagen. Okay, very good. Can I hear you say I totally agree with that again, please?
I totally agree with that.
I totally agree with that. Maybe I didn't do it like that. I totally agree with that. That was maybe a little bit thick on the end. I totally agree with that. I would maybe go for more of like a I totally agree with that or that. A bit
Okay.
gentler voice as you go down in pitch. Try it again.
I totally agree with that. Oh.
I totally agree with that. See how relaxed it is. I totally agree with that. Yeah. It's like a soft landing. We fly high and we go low and we chill and we float. All right, beautiful. Okay, so yeah, you're doing really good. The little pitfalls I did here was like I totally agree with that. It was like a little bit dark, and when you did, I totally agree with that. Like the pitch did go low really quickly, and maybe it kind of like triggered like a muscle memory of a more masculine sound, of maybe more vocal fold mass. So as you pay attention to it, you were fixing it quite well. You don't really need to worry about higher pitches like hello, good morning, how are you? Really flexible in your high pitch range, and generally high pitches make it a lot harder to engage more vocal fold mass or to like be darker, because we have a tendency to brighten and raise our larynx as we go for higher pitches, right? It's kind of like a natural tendency of our body to do so. So generally avoid, or not avoid, but be careful as you go down in pitch. That's where I would say most of your pitfalls happened here. Okay, we ran out of text to read, so I guess we'll read some of those. All right, can you read me that first sentence, please?
Yep. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Beautiful. Next one.
Bars. The
Bars.
crowbar opened the subpar car.
The crowbar opened the subpar car. Okay, absolute bars. Sorry, you said bars. I just had to. Very good, very good. Literally crowbars. Okay, stop the jokes. Oh no! 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 We stop here. Okay. Okay, so how about you give me the next one, please?
All right. The store doors creaked more on the 4th floor.
Beautiful. Next one.
The new you is no taboo. You grew, it's true.
You grew. It's true. Careful here. You grew. It's a bit darker than the rest of your sentence. You grew. Maybe the R sound or is getting your oo sound a bit darker. Roo. Let's try this. Roo. You grew.
Okay. Grew.
You grew. It's true.
Okay. You grew, it's true.
Grew. Careful here. Grew. It's a down in pitch.
Grew.
Grew. As you go down, you also grew. You also increase the size. Grew. Don't you're. It's okay if you increase the size a little, because as you go lower in pitch, you're kind of expected to go a tiny bit darker. You grew, but not as much. You grew.
There we go.
Yeah, you grew. It's
grew.
true. Yeah, you grew.
Ah.
Yeah. You get it, you get it, you get it. You do.
Yeah.
It's true. Can I hear the next sentence from you, please?
Snow flamingos eat kilos of tomato risotto.
Beautiful.
That also
Awesome.
sounds good.
That also sounds good. Oh my gosh. Pickles, tomato, risotto. Ah, I can't wait. I'm so hungry. Okay. Feed me. Okay. You did really well. Again, you are, I don't know, how long have you been practicing your voice for? Tell me. Pray tell.
Like I think a month or two actively.
Okay. Very good. I mean, you're slaying it. What's your starting voice, if I may? Where did you start at?
My starting voice is around here when I'm regularly talking to people.
Okay, it does explain a few things. Like, if your starting voice is like here, it's actually like, not that far from the fem voice.
yeah,
In terms of resonance, you're not too far. Like, my masc voice is here, and then if you just brighten it, you're already like halfway in a fem voice, and then you just vibrate the pitch a bit higher, da 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 da, and then you're basically there, right? So here, it doesn't undermine the work you've done at all, by the way, because
Yeah.
it asks for a lot of consistency to like have that nice intonation, to have like those higher pitches, you know, like those lower pitches really soft. And I think that's also one of the issues. If your masc voice started higher, like you might feel like it's a bit harder to notice when your voice goes masc because it's already in big proximity to like your fem voice, right? Like if your masc voice is here and your fem voice is here, they're like really close by. It's not like you have
Like a mask, like a mask voice down here. Ooh, oh, I can't do mask voice anymore. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if you have a mask voice like down here, yeah, like really dark there, and then you like climb.
but like a fem voice up here, for example, like the gap is enormous, right? Again, you don't need to go that high, of course. But yeah, my parting words here is beware of your intonation, especially when it goes to lower pitches. As you might have heard, the resonance goes a bit bigger, you get a bigger vocal tract size, it sounds a bit darker. And when you go to lower pitches, you also have a tendency to go a little bit thicker, right? Because generally, masculine voices have like more vocal fold mass, right? So we kind of like want to remove that vocal fold mass and also make sure that we're still really small and bright, just like that. See? Fixing the voice is really simple. Stay bright, very small size, high larynx, and stay soft, especially at low pitches. Higher pitches, you can be a bit more crazy. You can be like, that mad brat said on that flat mat. Even if I'm really buzzy, it's still really
Amen.
fem. Amen. Ah. Throwing hands. All right, so very good. Woo! Okay, so yeah, that was pretty much it. I think you are, I guess, in the polishing stages of your voice. But, you know, be more careful because, again, this discrepancies between the masc voice and the fem voice to you are much smaller. So you have to pay extra attention to those lower pitches. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Very good job, Amber. Everyone give a big round of applause to Amber. You're welcome. Throwing bars in the fem voice. All right. Let's wrap it up here. So, Rory, 1B, do we have any questions on Discord or Twitch? No questions on Discord. Okay, any questions on Twitch? All right, awesome. So well then, I'll take 2 questions from the audience. If you are interested in knowing more about voice, if you have like a simple question, I'd be more than happy to answer it. All right. So Zoe, you have a question? Come closer.
Oh, should I work on resonance?
I mean, okay. So the thing is like, should I work on resonance? It's not so much that you need to work on resonance. Like your voice, again, remember what I said about like buzzy fem voices? Like Your voice is like generally more buzzy, like more like that, right? Buzziness is characterized by, of course, having more vocal fold mass, and so like you get like really buzzy sound because your vocal fold mass, like your vocal folds are more engaged, muscularly speaking, right? But your voice sounds like this.
Not like this, right?
So if you have like a lot of vocal fold mass and you sound buzzy the way you do, it means that you already have a really small space. So your resonance, you might still want to work on it, or at least like keep it in the back of your mind. But in the case of like your buzzier voice, you will gain a lot more from like reducing how much vocal fold mass you use, because you already have a very small space by default, it seems. And if you do reduce the vocal fold mass and you get a voice that's like a bit darker, then that's where you would want to practice some of your resonance, of getting a smaller vocal tract. Okay?
So very much.
You're very welcome, Zoe. Best of luck. Remember, use less air. It helps motivate like gentler, softer voices. You don't need to be super soft all the time, okay? Just, there's like gradients in between. Okay, do we have questions? Yes, Lily the deer.
And I struggle with singing at my feminine voice, and I have no idea of how to fix it.
Singing specifically, not speaking, or?
Yeah, I can do it perfectly fine.
Okay, so singing is like, okay, so there's like different types of singing, first of all. Like you have like operatic singing. Well, that's not really operatic, like, like think
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
right? Like very operatic, really like big open throat, very big space, right? And then you have like more pop singing or like more rock singing, right? So depending on what types of singing you want to practice, you're going to want to do very different things, I don't know, like what sentence could be singed well? I don't know, like you could sing, the crowbar opened us up our car, like with more size, a bigger size, or you could go for a more poppy vibe, like by having a smaller vocal tract. Instead of having the crowbar opened, you could have the crowbar opened. So like having a smaller size. And if you want to go like more harsher vocals, like, I don't know, like more rock vocals, or I suppose like not metal, I'm not gonna like scream it, but the crowbar, I don't know, I'm not really good at distorted vocals, so that's my best shot at it. But to get a better femme singing, it's first important to gauge and understand what you want for a type of singing, and then apply, kind of like break down what kind of singing you're working at. Like, what kind of singing do you want to do, Lily?
Well, I kind of want to do like pop singing. Like example, I've been singing a song called "Fox Boy" by Whispers.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with that song just quite just yet. But you know what? You're also in the Trans Academy Discord, right?
No.
You're not. Okay. Well, join it. Do we have a link here? We don't have a link. I mean, if you type Trans Academy
don't have
Discord,
Discord.
you don't have Discord? Okay. That does complicate things. Well, could you get Discord?
It would be a nightmare to get it.
I understand. Well, I would be hard pressed to help you with this. Perhaps if you come to like a later session, or to the sessions of Jessa, where you could like maybe like find a way to play the song back, or in some way, so like you can be aware of the media. We can help you break down the voice type and thus help you reach that kind of goal. But yes, I hope that I know it's like, yeah.
I kind of have the song loaded on my song player. Would you like me to play it?
Sure.
Will you decide to stay when the accents
Okay, all good. I heard enough. Can you please stop? Thank you. So, like, it's like definitely like. I mean, I'm not sure who the singer is. It kind of sounds very androgynous. A lot of singing is generally not super gendered, if you think about it. But like, this is a more breathy type of voice. I understand why the artist is called Whispers, to be honest. Like, it's a very whispered song. It's generally leaning more breathy. Like, it's a bit more breathy, so like, you get like more air quality in that voice. Although, do be careful if you do practice adding more air to your voice, you can also make your voice a lot drier much faster, and that's something that you want to be careful with. So yeah, basically what I was saying about vocal fold closure. When you speak normally, hello, 1, 2, 3, you use a balanced voice. But when you're singing here, you want to use more of a breathy voice. You know, it kind of like softens up the voice. Then again, it didn't help that the song was amongst like a bunch of instruments and the quality through vrchat is very poor. But yeah, I would say going for a breathier quality is what you would want to do to mimic specifically that quality. Another artist I can think of who uses a lot of breathiness in her voice is Billie Eilish. I don't know, I haven't listened to her songs in a while, but I know she'd done some of that before. Anyways, I hope that helped you out, Lily.
Hey, Savvy, I can separate the vocals from the instruments.
Okay, well, at least I think fairly confidently that the voice is more breathy. So yeah, I think that's generally what you would want to add to your voice. Just breathe out more air instead of just singing like that, right? Going for a softer tone is what you like to do. Okay? All right. You're welcome. Okay. 1B, Rory, still no questions. I see a lot of people jumping. I don't know if it's for questions or not, but I won't be able to answer all of them. Okay. Maddie, Puppy, you had a question? Oh, can you please get closer? Thank you. Oh, it's a text question. Okay. Hi. I started today. Focusing on voice feminization, correct? I'm going off the pronouns, so I suppose you want to go fem? Okay. What should you focus on first? It's hard to tell, given I don't hear your voice, what you need to start on. But generally, a good idea is to practice brightening your voice so you can do like exercises with whisper sirens. I like to use the sentence, pat that cat on a whisper. I start with a really dark whisper, generally because you and I, we've probably have been affected by testosterone. And given that, pat that cat, we start really dark. You can use your hand, put it on your neck. You can feel for a bump there. And if you do pat that cat really dark, like pat that cat, you should feel the bump being all the way down. As you brighten it, pat, 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 you should feel it move up if you did that correctly. And once it has moved up, you can use your hand still there. Don't press it down or hold it in place. Don't do that. Just, it's a way to track where your Adam's apple is. Once you get that bright sound, pat that cat. You try to aim for a pitch that's generally in the feminine range. So typically here, that's not right. Typically here, most feminine voices will tend to be in that area. It's a suggestion, not an obligation to be here again. And you can like aim for, I don't know, like F3, for example. Da, 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 da. F3 is here. So then, pat, 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 pat. Then hold the bright ass out. Pat that cat. And you already got yourself a fem sound. Okay? So those are the steps you can try to work with for starters. And then just record yourself, listen back to yourself, etc., etc. Okay, there's so many questions. I'm sorry, I will not be able to answer all of them because we are already so over time. So if you have any more questions, I please ask of you to ask them in the hashtag voice training channel in the Trans Academy Discord. I'll try to go through some of them after I'm done here. Other than that, I'll be wrapping it up here. So, hey everyone, my name is Savvy. I am a voice coach. I teach voice feminization and
Voice masculinization.
I also teach stuff such as singing, voice acting, and a little thing called human beatboxing with sounds such as. So if you want to learn any of that, any of those little voice skills, you can always send me a message on Discord at savvy_sav, all in small letters. You can also join my own Discord server with this link, or let's do it better. You can just click on my avatar name, and in the bio, you'll find a direct link to my Discord. Why go there? Well, I have a little community of people where we kind of share back and forth clips of feedback, and we give feedback to each other on the voice, so you can like learn some more over there. I also do public lessons that you are free to join in and learn some more over there. So yeah, scientifically augmented voice, that's my Discord. Be sure to join. Other than that, thank you again, 1B. Thank you, Rory, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here today, of course. I'll catch you in the next session, which is going to happen next Sunday. If you have any more questions, you can feel free to ask me in Discord at savvy_sav or in the hashtag voice training server. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, well, bye Twitch. Bye everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.